Hello everyone, introducing my name Dira Marsella with NPM 244120012 from the Accounting Study Program. Here I will explain introductory management material, namely organizational environmental analysis. Without waiting long, let's see the video. Organizational environmental analysis, what is it? The organizational environment is everything that can affect the continuity, existence, and so on concerning the organization, both internal and external. There is also an internal environment that includes who is in the organization, human resources, what policies are made in the organization, how the leadership aspects in the organization, the availability of facilities and infrastructure, and organizational culture. In this internal factor, the culture or environment displayed by the company in the form of values, built by example and shown by leaders with a physical appearance which includes color, placement, and shape, and builds a good image and can have a good impact on the company. There are also elements of the organizational environment which are divided into two parts, namely, the first is the external environment and the second is the internal environment. First, I will explain the external environment first. The external environment is everything outside the boundaries of the organization that may affect it. This means that the external environment is an important aspect that every organization must consider in their strategic planning. By understanding and responding to external factors allows organizations to survive and thrive in a dynamic and often unpredictable business environment. The external environment consists of two parts, namely, first there is the general environment, referred to as the environment that does not directly affect the organization, or the indirect environment. So, although the general environment does not affect the organization directly, it must still be taken into account in organizational decision-making. This general environment consists of economic, technological, sociocultural, political, legal, and international dimensions. This environment has little impact on the direct implications for an organization's arrangements. And the last is the task environment. The task environment is part of the external environment that includes direct interactions between the organization and stakeholders that affect the organization's operations and performance. And it is the daily food of a manager, where he must be able to know the wishes of customers for his organization and his work partners. Then there are also various dimensions of the general environment. The following explanation: the first is the economic dimension. The economic dimension is the overall health and vitality of the economic system in which the organization operates. If economic conditions experience shocks, it will directly affect the organization. So, what this means is that the economic dimension plays an important role in determining the success of an organization. Shocks in economic conditions can have a direct and significant impact on business operations and strategies. Therefore, it is important for an organization to understand its economic environment and be ready to adapt to the changes that occur. There are also economic factors that are particularly critical to businesses: are general economic growth, inflation, interest rates, and unemployment rates. The second is the technology dimension. This dimension reflects the methods available to convert resources into products or services. Changes in technology will affect the way the organization converts these resources, so that making an impact in his managerial decisions is a big task for a manager, where he can adjust to the times, meaning that the manager can apply the technology and technological capabilities he has to develop his organization and try to improve productivity and increase job satisfaction. The third is the sociocultural dimension. This dimension includes the attitudes, norms, customs, lifestyles, values, habits, and demographic characteristics of the society in which the organization is located. The managerial impact is that managers must know how to socialize with their organizational peers, or how to organize to develop the talents that exist in the organization. This means that the social dimension greatly affects the way organizations operate and achieve their goals. Managers must be aware of the importance of the social environment and strive to understand and adapt to these conditions in order to develop employee potential and increase overall organizational effectiveness. The fourth is the political-legal dimension. This is government regulation of business and the general relationship between business and government. The laws and regulations issued by the government can have a major impact on the survival of the organization. The managerial impact is that a leader or manager is able to build a good organization in accordance with government regulations regarding business and laws. In essence, Government regulations play an important role in determining how organizations operate and interact with their external environment. Managers must be proactive in understanding and implementing these regulations to ensure that the organization not only complies with the law but can also develop within the framework set by the government. The fifth is the international dimension, that is, the influence of business, politics, and policies of other countries, especially for multinational organizations, has a huge impact on the organization. So, the managerial impact is an important thing so that it can develop the organization. If the manager himself can build communication among organizations, even to the international level, and the organization is known inside and outside the country. And the last is the task environment dimension. The task environment, or task environment, also called the environment that directly affects the organization or direct environment, namely elements outside the organization that specifically affect the organization directly. This environment consists of dimensions: competitors, customers, suppliers, regulators, and strategic partners. I will explain each of these dimensions. Competitors occurs when there are competitors who compete for resources, including consumers, or who offer competing products or services. In addition, organizations will also compete with other organizations for resources. For example, organizations will compete for funds from financial institutions and for qualified employees from a university. This means that organizations must be active in facing competition in two important areas, namely funding and human resources. Then there is also the name customer, which is an individual or organization that buys goods or services of an organization. Customers can affect the organization directly because they buy and use goods or services produced by the organization. Changes in consumer behavior, tastes, and attitudes are included in the components that managers must understand. So, by understanding customers and changes in their behavior, it will be key for managers to develop effective strategies, improve customer experience, and ensure the long-term success of the organization. The third is suppliers, which are parties that provide inputs in the form of resources to the organization, which are needed to run their business. Inputs can be raw materials, semi-finished materials, employees, financial capital, information, or services required by the organization. So, by understanding the role and influence of suppliers, it can help managers in planning effective operational strategies and maintaining business continuity. The fourth is regulators, usually governments that regulate and influence the policies and practices of an organization. Regulators can play a key role in shaping the operating environment for organizations through the policies and regulations they set. Organizations need to understand and adapt to these regulations to ensure their sustainability and success in the market. And finally, there are strategic partners, which are two or more organizations working together in a joint venture or other partnership. So, strategic partnering through joint ventures or other partnerships is an important strategy for organizations to collaborate in achieving common business goals, increasing competitiveness, and optimizing existing resources. Earlier, I explained what the external environment is, so now I will explain about the internal environment. What is the internal environment? The internal environment is the organizational environment that is within the organization and formally has direct and specific implications for the company. So the internal environment can be an important factor that affects the operations and strategies of an organization. Internal environmental analysis will include an analysis of the company's human resources, capabilities, and core competencies. Now that I have explained what environmental analysis is earlier, I will explain the functional analysis, but of the internal environment. One of the simplest ways to understand and analyze an organization's environment is through functional analysis, which includes the production function, marketing function, finance function, human resource function, and R&D function. The following are the various dimensions of the internal environment. Owners/shareholders are the people who have legal title to the business. In terms of managerial implications, the owner-leader can be a person who founded and runs a small business, a partner who jointly owns the business, or an investor who owns shares, shareholder. This means that shareholders not only have legal rights to the business, but can also influence the direction and strategic decisions of the company through their ownership. Therefore, understanding the relationship between owners and management is critical to achieving effective and sustainable business goals. There is also the board of directors, who are those elected by the shareholders and are responsible for overseeing the general management of the company. to ensure that the company is being run in a way that best satisfies the interests of the shareholders. Then there are the employees, which are the individuals employed by the organization. Employees can form trade unions which currently have considerable bargaining power so that they can influence the organization. Therefore, managers need to foster good relationships with employees or labor unions. And the last is the physical work environment, which is in the form of physical facilities provided by the organization to support the organization's operations. This means that the physical work environment is a crucial element in supporting the operations of an organization. Good facilities not only help in the smooth running of business processes, but also contribute to employee well-being and productivity. Therefore, managing the physical work environment should be a priority for the organization's management. That's all my explanation. Hopefully friends like it. Thank you, and bye-bye.